Welcome back. Chances are, even if you're just a casual fan of baseball, you probably know what type of baseball bat has been used by players the last 100 years. But what you might not know, since about 2014, Dovetail Bats, based in Shirley, Maine, has been making a big splash at all levels of professional baseball. I am Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcast Are Fun. Today, we have the founder and president of Dovetail Bats, Mr. Paul Lanchese, with us to discuss his company and the big strides his bats have made, including having 3 of them in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I am excited to welcome Mr. Lanchese. Hello, sir. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, bud.
So let's get right to it. I read that you were a carpenter and made shelves, but how did you start with bats?
I was a furniture maker and I built custom furniture. And I have a degree in wood science. And I started making bats for my son, who at 8 years old wanted to be a baseball player. And I got tired of buying bats at the big box stores that I felt weren't of the best quality we could find. And I started making them out of the material that we had in our own furniture company. And it went from there. Then I coached high school for about 15 years. And all my high school boys started using the bats that we were making. And it just started to grow organically. And next thing you know is I'm in it full time. I sold my furniture company and we've got 12 to 15 employees in the bat company. And we're in a bunch of different countries and all over the United States.
I like that you did that for your son. Is he still playing baseball?
He's not. He's all done. He's 33 years old and he's moving on with his life.
What level of baseball did he make it to?
He was a post-draft free agent with the Giants. He got released after extended spring training, then played independent ball for about 5 or 6 years.
In 2014, the first dovetail bat was used in the major leagues. Who was the player that swung that bat?
You don't know who it was?
Well, I think I kind of
Take a guess. Take a guess.
Yasiel Puig.
Good guess.
Was I close?
You were right on the money. Good
Oh,
job.
really?
Yes.
Nice. What team was he on? Was he on?
He was on the Giants. The Dodgers.
Dodgers. Yeah, Dodgers. Yeah.
Yep. So I hired a sales rep out of California who was a Latin speaking rep, and he knew Yasiel Puig, and he was the first one to try us out and did pretty good with us. And then it just started to spread from there.
How much did it grow? Did it take a long time, or as soon as Yasiel Puig got it, more and more players started?
No, 2014 was really a tough year for us. It cost at that time about $30,000 to get into Major League Baseball. And to get your name out there, you've got to give a lot of samples away and got to get the bat in a lot of players' hands and let them believe in you. And it wasn't until 2015 when the Kansas City Royals won the World Series. 70% of the runs were scored using our bats. 8 out of the 9 starters used our bats, everybody except Lorenzo Cain. And they just went off. They won the World Series. I believe it was Mike Moustakas got the MVP. His bat went in the Hall of Fame. Then Eric Hosmer broke 2 records, I think, in game 1. Alex Gordon hit a game-winning or game-tying home run to put him in extra innings or get him into the bottom of the 9th so they can continue on. And then it was in 2016 that Eric Hosmer was the MVP of the All-Star game. And that was another bat that went in the Hall of Fame. So it was 2015 was our breakthrough year.
Okay, before I talk about the bats in play right now, can you tell us how the wood is selected? Was this the same wood you used for your other company?
Yeah, we get the wood from the same log yards, and we're in northern Maine, and up there it's very cold. Even right now, I flew down to Florida yesterday, and I left in the morning. It snowed. It was about 12 degrees. So we have very cold winters and they last a long time. So our growing season is short. The wood is very hard. It takes a long time to get a piece of wood to maturity up there. So it's, which means it's slow growing, very dense, very hard. and very different from the other bat companies of what they use out of the Appalachian Mountains. We recently hired the University of Massachusetts to do an independent study to prove that Dovetail has the hardest wood in baseball. And they tested our billets up against the billets out of the Appalachians, and it proved to be harder. And then they did another study and they put us up against 5 other bat companies. And I don't want to list the names, but they were the 5 top companies in MLB. And there's a scale called the Janka Hardness scale. And it's a measure that's used to test the density of wood. And we are 250 points harder than what was the hardest bat in baseball.
Wow.
And it was so astounding to them. They entered us in a contest at the International Sports Technology Institute at Purdue University, which is in June. And they asked me to come and lecture on our process, which I cannot do that because I don't want to give other bat companies the opportunity to know what we do and increase my competition on how we produce the best bats in baseball.
Does Dovetail Bats also replant trees?
No, but the forests that we buy from are all certified FAC forests. And what happens is for every tree cut, every tree is replanted. We don't do it personally, but all the management companies that we deal with, we make sure they do it.
I heard something that happened about your logo. What's that about?
There was originally, we were just a dove. And I don't know if I have it on my hat. You can see that?
Yes, I see.
Just the dove was our logo. And we did that from 2007 to 2013. And I had shared some information with another bat company at the time. And I helped them produce a nice finish on their bats. And they went on to become a really, really big bat company. And they ended up making a logo in my image and likeness. But we chose to go a different route and not litigate. And we had a designer create this logo for us. And as time went on, we found out that in Spanish, DTB means Dios te bendiga, which means God bless you, which was really huge in the Latin community. But it was more important with us because we're a Christian-based and founded company. And our motto or our company scripture is Colossians 3:23 and 24. In everything you do as unto God, not unto man. So the way when I get to talk to my ball players, I let them know that they're a recipient of what we do for the Lord. Everything we do in our companies, we're trying to glorify God in our business. So we don't look at it as a job. We don't look at it as a financial institution. We look at it as a ministry to baseball players. And that's why we have so many young minor league players, Eric Osberg, Brett Phillips, who's been with us almost from day one, who we have personal relations with. And it's pretty cool. So it's given us our mission has given us a lot of opportunity to meet players and really cool people throughout the industry.
How do you know how to make the bat to meet the player's needs?
We have relationships with every one of our players. And they tell us exactly what they want, and we do bat fitting, and we get to work with every single player. But I got a special guest. I just want my buddy.
Oh. Hey, what's up, buddy?
You know this guy?
What's up?
Grayson, what's going on, bro?
Hi.
You know this guy?
What are you? Uh-oh, did you get muted?
You're laughing like it now.
Oh my God.
What are you doing? Hey, you got the hoodie on and everything.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, baseball podcasts are fun, man.
Baseball is fun. Baseball is fun. This is awesome. I never thought I'd be able to meet you. This is awesome.
Oh man, it's an honor meeting you too. I hope I can meet you out at a Rays game this year. Okay, you can come out. It's awesome, man. I appreciate you being a fan of me and my career, and I know you guys have been trying to get a hold of me. I apologize. I've been super busy, but hopefully one of these days we'll sit down and talk. Okay.
You're fine. That's all. That's
You're good, buddy. I appreciate it. I know you're just super happy.
So hey, Grayson, see this guy?
Yeah.
So my mission, all right, isn't to make bats. It's to make relationships. And to keep people in touch with the Lord, because that's what we do here. All right, bud? So we make the best bats in the world, but
The best.
what's more important is the people that we're in touch with every single day. And you just got to be part of that, buddy.
Thank you so much.
You're the man. We'll talk to you here soon, okay?
We're going to Toronto this summer, like the weekend of July 4th. Yeah, the weekend of July 4th. So maybe I can see you then.
I would love to meet you, shake your hand, give you a hug, man, maybe some autographs. So we'll take a picture and we'll talk about how baseball is fun for sure. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you here soon. Take care. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
Did I throw you off, kid?
Yeah. I gotta continue. Okay. Were you getting good feedback from players right away?
Yeah, we got really good feedback. And you know how you know it? They stop placing orders and buying bats. There are over 40 certified MLB bat companies out there, and there's only 30 teams. So the market share is really, really slim. It's tough. And if you don't produce a really good product and you don't have great customer service and you don't have good relationships, they'll just go to the next guy. And what's really, really crazy is I've had a lot of superstar baseball players that came up with us, and all the big bat companies offer them money as soon as they make it to the big leagues. So they don't help them to get there, but they help them after they've already made it. And it's really disheartening to us because, you know, we go above and beyond to provide a player with a baseball bat that's, you know, world class and helps get them to the next level. How we got our business model, Grayson, is when my son was at Giants camp, he called me from Scottsdale, Arizona, and he said, "Dad, these bats are horrible." And I'm like, "What do you mean they're horrible? You're swinging, you're in the pros, right?" And he goes, "No, you don't get it. They're called pro stock." And what pro stock is the leftover bats that would have gone to the major leaguers, end up going to the minor leaguers. And I said, "What kind of business model is that? You're giving a kid in the minors product that you want them to make it to the next level, and you think they're going to stick with you." So we, you know, it took us a while. It was 2010 when he was in, or 2011, I think. By 2014, I created a business model that was, I'm going to not only go in with a major league bat to the minor leaguers, but we're going to go with major league bats to young kids your age. And today we're in Dick's Sporting Goods in the Northeast. We're in 25 stores with the Pete Alonso model, and I think maybe Chris Bryant, I'm not sure what else. And we're in another sporting good organization called Shields. There are 28 stores out of the Midwest, and we put the same exact wood in those stores as we do in Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil and Brett Phillips and Jesus Aguilar, because we really feel, you know, if I'm going to stand by my statement in everything we do, as unto God, not unto man, I have to do it at every level. And because we have our own mill and we have our own wood source, we're able to do that. A lot of companies don't have that benefit because, you know, they buy billets. That's what a piece of wood is. It's a billet. It's a dowel that they make a bat out of. And they buy all these billets and they have to get X amount of bats out of them, where we have an abundance of them. So we get to pick and choose. All the good wood goes to baseball players. All the wood that isn't as good will be a trophy bat. It's something that you're going to hang on your wall, and you don't have to, you know, you're not going to swing. It's not game ready. You know, it's inferior. So, you know, a little guy your age is going to get the same bat that Brett's going to swing.
So you're talking about him, former Florida Gator Pete Alonso, go Gators, by the way, used your bats during the home run derby in 2019, and last year he won both times. Was that the first time your bats were in a home run derby?
Yeah, that's the first time it was in a major league home run derby. And we sat down with Pete and his agents at 2018 winter meetings. And we were negotiating because 3 big bat companies offered Pete over $100,000 a year to swing his bats. And his agent said, "Well, what are you going to do for Pete?" And I said, "What do you want me to do for Pete?" And they said, well, he's been offered $100,000 from, A, B, and C companies. I said, well, I'm not interested. I'm interested in providing the best bats in the world for Pete Alonso. And I said, why don't we call Pete in here and ask him, what his take on this is. And you got to remember, at that time, he hadn't even made big league camp yet. He was still in the minors, just trying to get a job. And Pete came in, we were in Las Vegas in the winter meetings, and my wife and I, my wife is our CFO, and she runs all the agents and players and everything, all the sales in the offices. And we sat down with Pete and his agent and his fiance, Haley. And I said, Pete, why do you want to swing Dovetail bat? He said, well, number one, he said, I love my relationship with you. Number two, you make the best bats in the world, hands down. I've tried every other company and yours are the best. And number three, when I was in a slump, you were there for me. All the other companies went on with their next hot hitter and they didn't try to help me out. When I had an issue, you'd send me a new bat or try to help me out with a model or whatever. And I said, okay. And I said, are you concerned with me paying you money to swing bats? His exact words were, hell no, I'm going to make money with your bats. And to me, I took that as a compliment. And he said, the only thing I would ask is the other company said they would make a home run derby special bat for me. And he said, can you do that? And I said, Pete, I hired an artist and we created a bat. And I looked at his fiance, Haley, and I said, Haley, Pete's the biggest thing in your eyes, isn't he? And she said, yep. And I said, Pete, Haley's the biggest thing in your eyes, isn't she? And of course they're in love. And I said, we created the bat called Haley's Comet. And we put Haley at the bottom, Haley's Comet, and then we had it, we designed it and drew it out, and that's what it was. And it brought tears to both their eyes because they were so emotion about it, because they're very sensitive people. They're human beings. You might see Pete on television and think he's a superhero, just like Brett Phillips, but they're real human beings with real hearts and real emotions, and just like you, it's okay to cry. Real men cry. And that's what people are about.
You have a small dedicated company now. Does everyone that works at Dovetail grow up in Maine?
Let's see what we've got. I don't think I have any relocations. Everybody who works for us in the factory are from Maine. Yes. Some of them travel an hour and a half each way because of the distance, because we're in a very rural area. I have a general manager who lives in Arizona. I have a professional sales rep who lives in Arizona. I've got one who lives in Fort Myers, Florida. I've got another one that lives in St. Louis, but it's moving back to Tampa.
Does it being in Maine have anything to do with like the sales, because there's no baseball teams in Maine?
Nope, it has nothing to do with sales. Because we don't serve a local economy, we're a worldwide economy. We sell in Italy, we sell in Korea, Taiwan, Mexico, all of Latin America. It doesn't matter where we're located, other than the fact is we have the hardest, best wood in the world, and that's where we're able to get it. And if you're in the resource, you don't have to worry about supply. The number one thing that will shut down any type of business or economy is the supply. Look what's happening over in the Ukraine right now. Once your supply is shut off, you can't operate, you can't sustain. And we're in the middle of the woods and we've got plenty of material. Now it's just a matter of keeping people employed.
And you are a completely made in America company, right? And
yeah, 100. Yes.
Which is great. Have your competitors been nice to you?
I have really good relationships with a lot of the boutique bat companies. There are, my relationships not only with players, but they're relational with other bat companies. I've got companies calling us every day to buy wood from us because they can't get wood. I might help some of them and I might not. It all depends on, what our supply is. Number one is our players. We have to keep material in their hands. The real big companies, I'm sure they have an issue with us because we're chipping away at them. And that's okay. It's free enterprise. I'm sure big bloggers someday are going to look at you and have an issue with you because you're chipping away at them. You're doing something different, something organic. You're a 12-year-old kid with a heart for baseball, and probably someday you'll be on the MLB network doing interviews with Brett Phillips face to face. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
that happens by design, you know.
That's what I hope someday will happen too. I mean, getting to see one of my all-time favorite players would be really nice, and that's just a great example of what you're doing with all the relationships with your with the players that you have.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep. And just remember one thing, they're regular guys and they put their underwear on the same way you do every day. All right.
mhm.
And I don't get starstruck. I'm a Red Sox fan at heart. Back in 1982, I tried out with the Boston Red Sox. I was a pitcher, and I grew up in Boston, New England. And you know, when I go to Red Sox camp for spring training, and David Ortiz walks by me, and I shake his hand, or you know, any of the old timers like Jim Rice or Dwight Evans or Louis Tiant and all those guys, you know, I don't get starstruck because they're human beings. They're just like you and I.
Mhm.
They just have a different talent.
Yes. My dad has me swinging a wooden bat for tee work and batting practice for the last year. Do you have an opinion on when a young player should be using a wooden bat versus a metal or composite one?
Day one. Day
Day
one.
one.
If it was up to me, nobody would ever have a metal bat. Now, saying that, we do have metal bats. We
Mhm.
make an
I-
aluminum bat. We make a USSSA and a BB core bat, only because we were trying to expand our market, and we were doing with the Pro XR knob, same knob that Pete Alonso and also Brett Phillips swings. But the reality is as a young player, if you start with a wood bat, you're going to find sweet spot, and sweet spot is where you want to hit. And as you get older, you're going to break bats. It happens, but you're going to get much better, and it's going to increase your skill. And you'll be a lot further ahead than a lot of players that only swing metal bats.
I've never used your bats. Which dovetail bats would you recommend for a 12 and 13-year-old ball players?
The model called LI-89.
Okay.
It has a flare handle. It has a 1-inch handle and a decent barrel, and it's the most balanced bat you'll ever feel. And the reason I like it is because it's a great transition bat from metal to wood. So you'll feel like you're swinging a metal bat. I've seen too many guys go into Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a wood bat, and they say it feels heavy. Well, it is heavy. It's nothing like the metal bat you've been swinging, which is a drop 6, 7, 8, or 10.
Mhm.
And you swing the LI-89 and you'll feel like you're swinging a metal bat, but you still have to hit the sweet spot.
Mhm. How tall? How big? What's the word? How
How long?
How many inches? How many? Yeah, how long it is?
Okay, so what you do is take a bat and hold it on the center of your chest, the barrel, and you cup your fingers over the end of the bat. Okay, and that will tell you, if you can cup your fingers over the end of the bat, it'll tell you how long the bat should be. Now, if you don't have a bat in your hands, you can have your dad take a tape measure, and you hold the tape measure in the cup of your hands. Let's see if I can get it. If you can put the tape measure right here and hold it with your thumb and stretch it out, and then wherever that measurement is on the center of your chest. Okay, so right about where the baseball, let me move your hand for a minute. So where the second L is, see where the second L is? That's about the center of your chest, isn't it?
Right here.
Yep. And that'll be the length you should swing.
Okay.
Now, just because it says it's the right length, you still have to pick it up and hold it and make sure it feels comfortable to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. And are there different weights too?
There are different weights. We make bats anywhere from positive weights down to, you know, drop 5 or drop 6. And you know, 12-year-old, what grade are you in? 6th, 7th grade?
6th.
6th grade. So is that middle school yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to probably start swinging BB core, right?
Maybe.
Do you have a school team?
No, my school
They don't.
doesn't have any
Okay.
sports.
Okay. So middle school usually is BB core. So we actually make a 31-inch BB core bat, which is a drop 3. But we have another bat called a YBB. It's a youth big barrel, and it comes in birch only, which is what Pete Alonso swings. And that you can get in a drop 5 or drop 6. So it'll feel like it's light.
I play in some tournaments, and you guys have drop 8s, right?
We have drop 8s in wood or metal.
I think most tournaments allow both. So,
Okay, well, our drop 8s are in our USSSA Polar Power metal bat. We
okay,
make drop 5, drop 8, and drop 10.
okay,
And we make them from 28 to 32 inches. And our wood bats, if you're gonna play in that, I would recommend getting an LI 89 because it's gonna be a little bit stronger.
okay. Listeners on my show know that my podcast name was inspired by my favorite player, which we conveniently just talked to right now, Brett Phillips of the Tampa Bay Rays. On Instagram, you can really see some nice dovetail bats Brett uses. How did that come about?
Brett came to us in 2015. 2015 it was. I had a sales rep who knew Brett and asked if he'd try us out. And he swung 3 or 4 different bat companies, and he said he'd give us a test. And after, a couple at bats with it, he was convinced that these are the best bats he's ever swung. And he's never looked back, and we've been supplying them ever since. Last year, Brett, so now that Brett stays with me at spring training.
Mm-hmm.
We host him here because we're only about 5 minutes away from the Rays Stadium. And, it's cool having players live in a family environment when they're in the spring training, and his wife is here with his puppy, and Eric Osborne also. I let him come and stay down this year. So what's that?
Speaking of Eric Osborne, I've also interviewed Eric Osborne, who plays in the Rays organization.
Yep.
He said he also loves your bats.
Yep.
Yeah. How did he come too?
Eric came to us as soon as he got drafted out of University of Hartford.
Okay,
Been
so
with us ever since.
so what year?
I think he was a 17 draft, 17
Okay.
or 18.
So a few years after Brett, right?
Yep.
Okay. Are there players you're hoping will start using your bats?
We get a lot of guys. We just picked up Josh Bell with the Nationals.
Nice.
Nick Plummer is with the Mets. He just got dropped to AAA. Kevin Kiermaier is trying us out. Mike Zanino is trying us out. Is it Derek Lau?
On the Rays?
Yeah.
Brandon
Lau.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they sent us bats for Lau and Zanino to copy. So
I'm half Puerto Rican and lived there for a few years when I was younger. What is your company connection to Puerto Rico?
my company connection to Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
other than them buying baseball bats for us.
Yeah.
Well, the logo, the DTB logo in Spanish is Dios te bendiga.
Okay.
Dios te bendiga, which means God bless you in Spanish. And that has a Latin tie across all of Latin America, from Puerto Rico to Mexico, Venezuela, Cuba, any country that speaks Latin.
You also have customizable options for ball players with creative ways to color the bats and make them unique. Does that set you apart from any other companies?
No, there are companies that are a lot more creative than we are. We put our focus into creating the foundation, which is the wood itself. And we don't have a big staff. We don't have a huge marketing budget. There are a lot of companies out there that do amazing artwork, and I give them credit for that, but they also have multi-millions of dollars. One company out there, Marucci, has $350 million in marketing money, and that can buy a lot of design. And we don't have time for that, quite honestly. I rather create a great bat that's, a decent design that a player likes, and he gets to hit 54 home runs in a year with it. It's cool. I wish we had somebody local that could design bats like that, but we have a lot of options. We have a lot of color options and stickers and things like that you can do. But when it comes into the fancy paint jobs, there are non-certified bat companies, boutique bat companies that can do cool paint jobs, but there again, they don't make 30 to 40,000 bats a year. They might make 1,000 bats a year. So,
Mr. Lanchisi, I end my interviews with a few rapid fire questions. You can answer as much or as little information as you want. You ready?
Sure.
Favorite home run moment involving your bats?
Favorite home run moment?
Mm-hmm.
Alex Gordon, 2015 Game 1 World Series.
Okay. What is your favorite baseball movie?
Moneyball.
That's a great movie. I love that movie. I saw that you played baseball when you were younger. What was your favorite baseball experience as a player or a fan?
1979 high school state championship. I was pitching and I got to hit, and we won 3-2, and I got 2 RBIs in that game with a home run.
Nice.
And I only got the hit about 5 or 6 times that year.
Thank you so much for making time for me and my listeners. Mr. Lanchisi, I am glad you came on the show to tell us more about Dovetail bats. I hope you weren't too nervous. Did you have fun?
Bro, I wasn't nervous. I'm having a blast. You're awesome.
Maybe I can get a tour of your factory if we ever make it to Maine.
You come up to Maine, I'll promise you I'll give you a tour of our factory.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lanchisi, I should tell you, after today, you're my favorite Batman.
You're my favorite. What can I call you? My blogger?
Podcaster.
Podcaster. Dude,
Yeah.
that was awesome. You did great.
Mhm.
And I'm glad Brett was here, and I told him earlier what I was doing and asked him to come and say hi to you, and I'm glad it worked out for you. I know he's special to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, buddy. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Go ahead.
you go.
You keep up the good work. And there's
Thank you.
probably really, God has special plans for you, young man.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If you want to learn more about Dovetail Bats, please follow the company at Dovetail Bats on Instagram or dovetailbat.com. And you can help my show by subscribing to Baseball Podcasts Are Fun on Spotify and YouTube, and following at Baseball Podcasts Are Fun on Instagram. Please join me next week when we finally get Florence Y'all's pitcher, Casey Grimm, on the show. Until then, I am Grayson Knight, and this was Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya.